an order, and this is like an order given to somebody to vacate a house कि 15 दिन में आप खाली कर दो 5 जून तक. I mean, I find this very, very strange that you ask a 100-year-old institution to clear out in 15 days. There is no reason for calling it a high security zone because the Prime Minister's house is moving from there. So what is left there? And when the security was really high, when the Prime Minister was living in the Gymkhana was there for so many years. So suddenly this requirement for a defense establishment coming, and that also only in that place, I'm just opposed to this kind of a harebrained decision, and that's what I'll call it. And yes, by the same logic, Delhi Golf Club should be also, closed. There should be a ban on golf. Why is this kind of a identity complex vis-a-vis these kinds of institutions?
Do you think that this particular move by the government could be some sort of a pressure tactics as well on this block of people who are part of the Gymkhana club? That okay, now come on our side, otherwise we go ahead with this. Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Barely steps from the Prime Minister's residence, the Delhi Gymkhana Club is where India's most powerful played by rules written over a century ago. Now, the club has long been the symbol of hereditary privilege. You can achieve the most in life, rise to the very top, and have all the credentials, yet find the gates of the Delhi Gymkhana shut for you. While many heritage clubs in India, such as the Bombay Gymkhana, Sikandrabad Gymkhana, and Bowring Institute, are highly exclusive, none match the Delhi Gymkhana's level of insularity. Its exclusivity has truly been unparalleled. Now, what happened on May 22nd? Let me just explain it to you, and then we'll begin the conversation with our special guest. On May 22nd, the Land and Development Officer directed the club to vacate its 27.3-acre prime Lutyens Delhi property at 2 Safdarjung Road. Now, the land leased from the government at a token rent of 1,000 a month is now being taken back for public purpose, for strengthening defense infrastructure, governance facilities, and high security requirements near the Prime Minister's residence, that is the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Now, there is a huge flurry of reactions on the social media. Some are speaking against the elitism of the club, while others, they have a very cautious approach. And this is snowballed into a huge talking point. But in the meanwhile, the club today moved the Delhi High Court challenging the order. And senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi mentioned the matter before Justice Avnish Jhingan, who agreed to hear the matter now on May 26. In a letter dated May 23rd, the General Committee urged the centre not to disrupt the operations until clarity is given on relocation and alternative land allotment. It warned that abrupt eviction would affect thousands of members, employees, and stakeholders. So we'll try and talk about this controversy. Joining me this evening is a former IPS officer who's also been in the intelligence. Thank you so much. Yashovardhan Azad joins us, who also happens to be the member of the Gymkhana Club. He's written a beautiful piece today in Hindustan Times. Thank you so much, Mr. Azad, for joining. And I would like to begin with asking you that why is there so much of social media reaction on this particular controversy around the Delhi Gymkhana?
I mean, I don't know why the social media is so abuzz. I mean, but you can imagine that the government gave an order, and this is like an order given to somebody to vacate a house कि 15 दिन में आप खाली कर दो 5 जून तक. I mean, I find this very, very strange that you ask a 100-year-old institution to clear out in 15 days. I mean, they must be knowing that there are 7,000 employees there. They know that there are 700 employees there. They know there are thousands and thousands of membership. There are structures. There are so many things to be done. So I think the media is abuzz because some of them think that it's a great, what a powerful action done by the government, and some of them feel that it's an overreach, dismantling an institution for no reason, because it has been there for 100 years, and there doesn't seem any real good reason for taking it over.
No, but like what the government is saying, that they are trying to strengthen the governance structures because it's a high security zone near the prime minister's residence, and now it will be used for the public purpose. And why should that space have the entitlement only of the elites?
2 points. First of all, there is no reason for calling it a high security zone because the prime minister's house is moving from there. So what is left there? And when the security was really high, when the prime minister was living in the Gymkhana was there for so many years. So suddenly this requirement for a defense establishment coming, and that also only in that place, it leaves a question mark. So where is the reason which is established for security, and suddenly a defense establishment that also 27 acres has to be there? So I mean, that is not there. The other part is what you're talking about, elite club. Who is an elite? I want to know. Retired people who don't. What is an elite, for example? What is the definition of an elite? Wealthy, powerful, skillful, and who can enforce decisions. Are the retired any powerful? Or who's powerful? A member of parliament who has won 5 times? The houses which are there of about 10, 15 acres, they are the elite, or these people are the elite? They own individual houses.
No,
So,
but why has the elitism tag been attached to Delhi Gymkhana? Because they say that you can't get the membership very easily, even though you are well connected, you are very influential. Even then, the gates can be shut for you or for your membership. So why is it elitism tag always carried along with Delhi Gymkhana? Is
it
it
is
a
the
picture portrayed by the media, or do you think that there is some conspiracy behind it?
No, in a country like India, where you have tremendous haves and have-nots, and people who are always there to call elite setup, ascribing to them all the privileges, etc. Yes, if you are at the highest, if you're an Ambani, you're an elitist. But if you're a successful politician for last 50 years, then you're an elite yourself, and you are using all the facilities of the government absolutely free. I mean, this kind of a tag being given, will you call it an elite club, or will you elite institution, or will you call it a civic legacy? It depends on you. It came in 1912. If you were calling it an elite club that time, I agree. The ICS was there, the IP was there, and the senior military officers were there. Yes, they controlled all the levers of power, right? So in 1913, it was given out on lease. They could have even bought it. They had so much of money at that particular point of time. But now, after 1947, the membership which is given, any club will have a restricted membership, right? It can't have free for all. So there is a sequence of membership. And that's why everyone does not get it. But there are diplomats over there are CEOs over there are retired officers there are present officers there are businessmen over there are professors, everyone is there. And that is why, to say that to attach an elite tag, yes, vis-a-vis the 80 crore you're giving rations, or with the other people, yes, you can call it elitist, but then so are so many other institutions also. And another thing, Neelu, it's not only Gymkhana that got this on perpetual lease. There are lakhs of institutions in Delhi which have got perpetual lease. So why don't you do an audit and a scrutiny of each one of them, and then take a decision accordingly?
No, but there are other clubs as well, like the India Habitat Center. You have an India International Center. Do you think that the government is having something very creepy in their mind when now they have begun with the Delhi Gymkhana Club? I don't know what's going to be the fate, because the case now is in the court. But what do you think is the real intention of the government?
Well, intention of the government, I wouldn't know because I'm not a part of the government anymore, and nor I would like to know because for the simple reason that I'm just opposed to this kind of a harebrained decision, and that's what I'll call it. And yes, by the same logic, Delhi Golf Club should be also, closed. There should be a ban on golf. Why is this kind of a identity complex vis-a-vis these kinds of institutions? There have to be social spaces in a metro where there are these are places of relief where people can chat, people can talk. There are public places also. I said, don't pit one community against the other community. There are poor, there are middle class, there are rich, there are very rich in every society, and each one of them have something to do. I have a better reason. The reason is that Gymkhana is independent. It does not depend on the government for anything except for the land. Its members are not a voting bloc. Number three, they are not influenced by any party propaganda. And fourth, these are कहते हैं, we are not contributing to any political party. So that's why it's an easy low-hanging fruit to be plucked, and that's why the government has closed it. If we can do an agitation on the streets and keep the roads closed for about 40 days, then maybe things would have been different. But we don't matter in
But
question of
from
votes.
what you have just explained, that you're not a voting bloc, you don't air your views so openly, you are not, you don't have a proclivity towards any particular party. So, do you think that this particular move by the government could be some sort of a pressure tactics as well on this block of people who are part of the Gymkhana club? That okay, now come on our side, otherwise we go ahead with this.
No, but Gymkhana can never be that kind of an institution, and government knows that this kind of institution can never be partisan because there are so many officers and so many businessmen. Even if a group of them can be pro-government, and that's fine. That we don't mind. There's some can be with the opposition, some can be, but the institution as a whole is carrying on for last more than 100 years and 12 years. Then dismantling an institution on account of security. I mean, look at London. Like any city or a capital you talk about, it's not only monuments. It's not only the buildings and offices. It's also about green spaces, parks, social spaces, clubs. This is what gives life. I always say the quality of life in any capital is so it's such a not a high quality. So if there is a space where diplomats or the CEOs or the professors or the other people are meeting, let it be. Need not be closed or attacked even.
No, but many people are saying that why are the members crying hoarse? Because ultimately the government is using it for a public purpose. And why should Gymkhana Club be their entitlement? Those are the kind of reactions coming on the social media. What would you say to that?
Oh, excellent. I mean, if you want to, that's why I said, then why don't you do an audit of all the leased places? If, for example, if you're talking about the rich and the poor and anti-elite approach, then turn Gymkhana into a slum rehabilitation center or the lowest housing group, we'd be very happy. We'll say that yes, that this place was meant for people who can earn sufficiently. It's a misnomer because a person like me survives on pension. I don't have any other income. As to how I can call me elite with no powers, nothing, I don't understand. But people who are living in 10-acre bungalows, who are ministers or MPs and all that, they are not elite, where they get much more than us. So if you turn all this, I don't mind cow shelter. That's fine. A stray dog shelter is fine. But it's a real public place. Then do it for golf club. Do it for Kutub Golf Course. Do it for IIC, which means that there's no need for spaces like this. We should not have clubs. We should not have anything. Fine. There's an army club over there. You can dismantle that also. Police club should be next. There's no logic saying that unless you say, no, this specific area needs to be taken. And that also for defense establishment. Then at least the public should know, na?
No,
कौन
but
सी ऐसी
this is
आपत्ति आ गई है ऐसे समय में कि हमें यहाँ पे वही एक एक संस्थान बनाना है जो कहीं और नहीं बन सकता, और इसकी आवश्यकता अभी पड़ी है।
But do you think that this is part of a much larger and a much grander design of this anti club culture, which goes and which matches very well with the Hindutva project? That why should anyone go to club, go to temples? What is the need? So, is that part of a grander design?
I don't know. I mean, how does a poor RSS worker benefit from closing a club? He has got different needs in mind. He has got different
It's just an
aspirations.
idea came to my mind, so I asked you that this
No,
almost looks like an anti club culture.
no. You can blame them for many things, but don't blame them for this. Hindutva. I don't think it's got anything to do with. It's just a kind of a kind of a hubris, I think, which is being again that people don't matter, and that's fine. It's certainly true that retired people don't matter. Retired military people, officers don't matter, but there are, of course, and the other private people, of course, they don't matter. And there are certain serving officers, but they can't speak anything, so they also don't matter. So if they don't matter, they're living on their own despite the existence, might as well close them. I think that is a logic. It's a good logic from their side.
I was reading a lot of reactions on the social media. In fact, one of the handles says that the elites are exposing themselves. What a time to be alive to see their entitlement being taken away. Now, this is one of the critics who has written it. Similarly, another critic writes that the entitled guy who is an ex-army officer thinks because Delhi Gymkhana is his second home, the government of India has given fictitious grounds to evict them. Now, these are the kind of reactions which are coming in. I'll take one or two more reactions, but I'd like you to respond to this.
I don't know what it actually means. I'll tell you, people who have not got a membership, they have reason to feel bad. People who don't have it, there is a general angst against people who have. But mind you, government needs all kinds of people. You need investment, right? You. These are people who pay taxes. These are people who carry the word outside. The diplomats, the diplomacy is not only done from high commissions and through paper wars and parlays. Diplomacy is also done in quiet corners, chatting with diplomats who meet a lot of us, carry their views. They when you discuss a risk assessment for a particular country for
No, but
investment.
doesn't it look, from what you have just explained, doesn't it look like the government is trying to send a message that we don't want people sharing their views, or there should be a free flow of opinions, like what happens and you're explaining it? So it's that culture of the government, or the mindset, I would say, that it's that mindset of the government which is playing out in a move like this.
No. I don't think they care about what we discuss as long as it does not destabilize a system, or if we do not. If things are being done on social media and 2 crore people join the cockroach till chatta group, then of course they will be worried. But whatever happens over sessions in Gymkhana, what does the government care about? It doesn't care about. It's just a kind of a thing that. Something which is independent, something which has nothing to do. We are of no use to the government. See, let's talk that way. Gymkhana is of no use to the government in either way. It is a social space. It is a part of the Delhi legacy, but it has got nothing to do with the government. So the government realizes it's of no use to us either way. So we can do away with it. And besides, they feel that it's not adding anything to to national health, wealth, prosperity. So let's finish it.
No, but similarly, if you look at the Lutyens bungalow zone where the Central Vista is coming up, all new offices have come up. They've demolished the older buildings. So that is exactly what's they're going to do with the Delhi Gymkhana Club, and they would say that what is wrong in this move? Now, how does one explain that? Now, I'll just try and read another comment from the social media where one of the persons is saying, I'm not sorry for Delhi Gymkhana, not because I wasn't a member, but because I could never be. Although one could apply and wait for 30 to 40 years to get membership. The truth is, it was practically hereditary. Of course, the green card holders would lament the high handedness of the government, but even they knew the party was nearing an end. This is one of the columnists and satirists Kamlesh Singh, who has written this on the Twitter.
I don't see any meaning to it for the simple reason that any club has a queue. So if you can't jump the queue, you can't jump the queue. If, for example, there are 1 lakh people, the queue will be long. If it is 30,000, then the queue will be less. So it doesn't matter. I mean, how does it matter? A club is a club. There are private rules for it. It's not that the club is creating any nuisance or creating any destabilization anywhere. So it really it
No, it's
doesn't.
surely not. It's surely not doing this as what you are pointing out. But the normal criticism which is coming out, and if you read the reports, which has been widely reported by the media, critics have pointed out that the club sits on the prime public land while operating like a private family fiefdom. The long wait list of 20 to 30 years, steep fees of 8.5 lakhs deposited without any interest, and hereditary access have led many to argue that the institution has ossified rather than evolved. If one looks at the membership, it was notoriously difficult to obtain. There was a waiting list that could span up to 30 years. This is what one of the
It can.
observers has written. Yes.
Yeah. Earlier on, when I applied as an officer, I got it in 10 to 13 years. If you're an officer, you get it early. And if you're a non-officer, it used to take about 25 years. Now the whole thing is extended. It 20 years and 40 years, but that's how it is. I mean, how can you reduce the queue? I don't understand. If you're in a queue and you strictly follow it, how do you reduce the queue? And why should you? So if there is a capacity of 30,000, will you put 2 lakh members in Gymkhana? You can't. So every club has to go by rules. So however you criticize it, it has to be elite because the numbers cannot be increased. If it had a capacity of 10 lakhs, then there'll be no problem. People can apply. So if you're going by the queue and you're following the queue, these cannot be changed.
But would you see this then eventually as an attack on a cultural institution like Gymkhana?
I've said it. In my article, I've said, is it a elite club? You look at it as an elite club, or you look at it as a civic legacy? I call it a legacy. When you talk about Delhi, the Darbar was in 1911, the capital, and then you planned this the Imperial Gymkhana Club in 1912, and in 1913 or something it started, right? So when it started, it was given the prime place. At that time, the Britishers, who were so conscious about security and the army and everything, they didn't mind Gymkhana being here. Gymkhana Club was positioned right there. So, and over the years, Gymkhana doesn't only have drinking in the evening. Gymkhana has tennis courts, it has walkways, it has nursery, it has cottages. And you look at some of the old retired people, 80 or 85, they're alone. How do you call them elitists? They hardly have any money. They come and spend their days in the evenings in Gymkhana. That is also a kind of people that you look at. The government should also look at. So, to describe Gymkhana as the healthy and wealthy, nobody is wealthy. So that is why there is a way you approach of looking at it, and I think that's a misguided way of looking at things.
There's another angle which is coming out of this story is the dislodging of the employment of about 600 people who are working there, and this would be like a potential destruction of the heritage site. It's almost like a sacrilege. You are basically disempowering the people also who are working there as employees. So how strong is this particular angle where people are coming out in defense of these 600 people who are working in the Gymkhana Club?
Yes, 600 people are working, and there are many more dependent: the vendors, the contractors, the poolwalas. There is a tent walas. Look at the ancillary kind of a system it promotes, and then there are book reviews. There are so many incidents. There is a cultural events. There are discussions over there. So finishing it destroys the entire, not only the cultural space and the social space, it also removes these people. And I don't know what kind of jobs you're talking about shifting, But once Gymkhana shifts from here, the whole will finish. If you put it in Ghaziabad, then for somebody who lives in Nizamuddin East, I'd of course not go there. I go here also only once a month. But it's the idea of an institution. I'm not a member of golf club, but I'm not against it. At least that area has been kept green. Look at Gymkhana, it has been kept clean. It's a green system. It doesn't have multi-rise apartments, which you're going to do if you're going to make a defense establishment over there. So it's a question
but
of...
the thought process is so polarized on this. On one hand, you see this as using a public space for some more fruitful purpose like the defense. And the other side, of course, which is talking in defense of the Gymkhana Club, they are saying that this is an attack on the civic legacy. So how does one get a meeting ground on this? And of course, now the case is in the court. Are you hopeful that there could be some positive movement on this?
I don't think there is any meeting ground on this. For example, the government, once it makes a decision, it hardly, otherwise it would have given time that we want to close the Gymkhana and let us get public reactions. And it's a populist move. It will definitely gain them political brownie points. There's no doubt about it. But ultimately, I can tell you that in terms of the quality of life, in terms of the social spaces which are there in metros, it will be a grievous loss. It will be a grievous loss also for Delhi, which has stood for old institutions, heritage, legacy, and so many other things.
What would you say to the thought process which immediately and instantly says that 27 acres of prime Lutyens land should serve a broader public interest rather than remain the preserve of just a few thousand elites who enjoy the services at highly subsidized rates?
I don't know what is subsidized. We pay for our food, we pay for our membership, we pay for any function that we go there, and it's the same rate as any other club, or even it's like a restaurant which is there. The government gave us land, yes, that is true, that is very true. But if the land is to be used for the poor, I'm saying go ahead with it. I mean, give it to slums. In fact, I think even some of the ministers' houses should also be used for rehabilitation of slums. And there should be in half the bungalow side, slums should be rehabilitated. That will show the real intent of the government. If you have real lowest cost housing, turn the Air Force Club, which is on the other side, that should also be turned into slum rehabilitation. The golf course is a huge green area. If you don't need it, you can again put things there. Then, of course, we don't mind.
So now the case is listed on 26th, that is tomorrow, and that will decide what the future of this club will be. But as one of the journalists I spoke to said, that in the land of Mahabharat, nobody surrenders land without a prolonged litigation. So let's see what the fate of Delhi Gymkhana Club is all about. Thank you so much, Mr. Azad, for joining on HW. Thank you.